Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So in yesterday's video I covered the Avatar Magic the Gathering news of the first card reveal on its own. Here I'm going to be covering all the other news that's happened from the last couple of days. And we actually have quite a few different kind of broad topics to talk about here. And we're going to start off with this one, which is the most recent information from just like a few hours ago basically. And that is that previously we heard the leak basically that Avatar content was going to be coming to the new Sonic kart racing game, Sonic Racing Crossworlds. And we got some leaks in relation to that. I can't really show you those leaks because they're actually being quite careful about them. But now they actually have officially announced the Avatar collab, along with some of the other collabs that were part of that same leak for the game. Because that's the big thing that they're kind of doing in the marketing for Sonic Racing Crossworlds. It's not just Sonic Mario Kart, they're really leaning into the IP collabs with this one, because they have, the big thing is that they announced the SpongeBob officially today, actually showing some of that stuff off. Minecraft, I think it already been officially announced prior to this, but now more directly confirming TMNT, and Avatar Legends is coming as well. So very interesting just by itself, the fact that what the leaks showed us was that they were going to be using the Aang movie design from the 2026 movie, which of course we had seen because of a 2023 leak from CinemaCon. And then obviously this only the second ever time we had seen that adult Aang design was as part of the leaks for Sonic Racing Crossworlds. And it showed that, yeah, he's going to be a character in the game on a kind of glider hoverboard type thing, because this game uses the cars basically, in addition to kind of hoverboard type things depending on the character and your vehicle selection. And there was also some information about like I guess the Avatar track is maybe going to involve line turtles and have some kind of stuff going on. I'm not really sure. I kind of forget the exact details surrounding that. But it seems to line up with the information we have about what the sort of the DLC plans, what the season pass for Sonic Racing Crossworlds is actually going to be. I'll just quickly mention though here, Avatar Legends. They have used Avatar Legends instead of the title of the movie here, I guess highlighting that it is going to be more of a broad Avatar collab rather than just specifically the movie. So that's interesting, I think, because it obviously suggests that when you use Avatar Legends, that typically means what you are doing is that it's not just Avatar The Last Airbender, you're going to use the other eras. So probably likely here is, I guess you're getting adult Aang from the upcoming movie, probably Korra from Legend of Korra, and I'm guessing they might choose like one of the characters from Avatar The Last Airbender, so in their kind of kid, kind of teenage form, so maybe a Katara from there, or a Zuko or something like that, just to kind of keep that variety. But who knows, maybe it's just meant to be the case that like the track will be more Avatar The Last Airbender themed, but the characters might be movie themed. We don't really know what the full situation is actually is. We have a little bit of information here just on the basis of SpongeBob was visually in the trailer, and they say that SpongeBob is coming this fall. Though I'm not sure if that's confirming that the SpongeBob update directly is there at launch or something like that. But they cover the details of this here. This is the season pass. So you can see it's Minecraft up first, then SpongeBob, then TMNT, then Avatar. So Avatar is 4 out of the 6 content packs here. So if the game's launching in September, they might have the Minecraft one kind of hit roughly at launch. Maybe SpongeBob coming a month or like a couple of weeks afterwards. TMNT, they might wait a little bit longer, moving into 2026, and then waiting a little bit longer again for Avatar Legends. Now, the timing on this is weird, because if Aang's movie design is part of whatever this is, the movie is not coming out until October. Now, whenever they do an initial reveal on this, one of the first visual things we're probably going to see is the official reveal of that Aang movie design. So once they have that out there, I don't really see an issue with the game immediately having that skin basically of the character in it. Like, I don't think we have to wait all the way until October to use that version of Aang. if you've shown it via a movie poster or a movie trailer prior to October, I think it's fair game to put it in here, because it's not really a quote-unquote spoiler or anything like that. It's not like this pack is going to debut the new villain who we don't know anything about from the movie or anything like that. It is going to be well-known Avatar characters, because I guess of the timing that it's going to have, with a little bit of a, hey, there's this movie coming out. Because again, part of the reason why this is happening here is that these Sonic movies are under Paramount. Avatar's under Paramount, TMNT's under Paramount, Nickelodeon's under Paramount, that sort of thing. That's why these specific collabs are happening in this game. And you can see here it says that, guest characters, vehicles, courses, emotes, and more. They covered that the Minecraft pack, I guess, is like, 3 characters, a course, and at least 1 vehicle, but probably more. The SpongeBob one, at least so far, they're saying that there are 2 characters, 1 vehicle, and a course. But again, there will also be other stuff. So it does seem to suggest that maybe the pack for Avatar might only be like 3 characters, a vehicle, and a track. That there's not going to be like 10 characters, 6 characters even. It will be kept to probably 4 or under. Which makes it feel like, yeah, it's going to be kind of slim pickings still. So, it is what it is. This is mainly notable just because of those leaks, we know there is movie-related or adjacent information present here with this. But also, I think them using Avatar Legends is notable. They're not just going Avatar The Last Airbender. Avatar Legends means everything's on the table, theoretically, which is interesting. So yeah, I guess we'll find out more on this as the months go on, and they maybe more officially reveal this. But I'm guessing as the 4th collab, it's going to be quite a bit into the future. I probably wouldn't expect this until probably mid-2026, but we'll have to wait and see. Next bit of news. Official Avatar The Last Airbender sticker book. We have the cover reveal. So obviously it's a lot of kind of stock standard promo art, but it's looking pretty nice. I like the layout. It looks like a fun, clean book. And yeah, sticker book, over 500 stickers, $12.99, out December 23rd, 2025. So I think this is notable just because that's a ton of stickers. And sure, look, there's probably going to be tons of duplicates here. And I think that makes sense. Like, there's going to be element symbols, and there's probably going to be 10, 20 of an individual element symbol. But it still leaves a lot of stickers to fill in. Even if everything is duplicated multiple times over, there's still going to have to be so many different pieces of art across all these stickers that we're probably going to get to see the extent of the stock image library that is available for Avatar kind of licensees, basically, through this book, which is just interesting by itself. And then, yeah, it's just going to be fun to have stickers to kind of put on stuff to kind of customize. And it's a nice amount of stickers. Also, do keep in mind it says that there are like mazes, puzzles, and word games and stuff like that here. So it is a partial activity book. Sticker book primarily, but there are some, I guess, games to be had in here, which kind of could be fun for, like, kids as a gift. But I think a lot of fans might just pick this up just for the sheer amount of stickers that are going to be in here. And to see what characters are included, aren't included, because with that many stickers there might be some weird exclusions, because you have to keep in mind some characters might not have promo art kind of done like this, and I wonder, will they go into like screenshots? That seems like maybe a lot for these type of stickers, but we have to wait and see. So that's a December release for Avatar. And again, we got news somewhat recently that there is going to be a sticker book for the movie as well when that comes out. So the Aang movie will have a sticker book separate to this one. Next, merchandise news. This is the Good Smile Company Nendoroid Zuko figure, which was announced a bunch of months ago. Just had a standard picture of Zuko. It wasn't actually a picture of the figure, but they said it was Nendoroid Zuko that's coming. Now we finally have the information. So the pre-order is open from now, basically until like a month from now, just over a month from now, as you can see here. It's going to be shipping November 2025. Now, I think this is more Japanese kind of stuff. If you go through a more Japanese retailer, probably if you're ordering from Europe, America, a website like that, maybe you're waiting more for early 2026 for this. But either way, that's the release window, is right at the end of the year into next year. let's take a look at this. So we've had two Nendoroids before. We've had Korra was the first release, and Aang was the second release. So we now have Zuko. So looking pretty cool here. You can see in his standard pose here, you have the standard base and some fire effects. You also get the swords, which I think is pretty nice, and a kind of aggressive kind of screaming pose there. Different hands here from some martial arts poses, again for bending poses as well, showing some of the stands. And a Zuko with a smiling grin on his face here. This one's probably going to become a bit of a meme, I'm guessing, here, just with the posing that they've done here. I think it maybe, to me, comes across maybe a little bit light on accessories overall, because do they show if they have like the scabbard for his swords anywhere? It doesn't really seem like that. You get this is off screen, but face plates, composed face, battle face, smiling face. You get fire effect, dual swords, and other optional parts for poses. So that's the different hands, I guess, and legs. That's coming across, I think, a little plain overall. Like, there's no like big standout kind of effect part here. It's just kind of a basic by the numbers. There's a bit of a bonus here, I guess, if you order through Good Smile themselves with the fire symbol, which is kind of nice. My thoughts on Nendoroids are that I have the Aang and Korra. They're cool, but I think and their quality, they just are expensive for what they are. Like, it's probably going to be like, for me, if I was to order this from somewhere, like €70 plus shipping. Maybe there's somewhere I can find it a little bit cheaper, but it's still more than I kind of feel like I like paying for that. And this is coming from someone who likes a lot of Avatar merch and is a bit of a collector. But my thoughts are, at this point, that I think I'd rather put that money into the fund for Avatar Magic the Gathering when that comes out. Because that's going to be expensive. And unfortunately, without any sort of immediate confirmation that there is going to be like a lot more of the characters covered, I'm pretty fine with my Aang and Korra representing the two sides of the franchise at the moment. And I would wait to maybe get more Nendoroids until I know they're planning to do more. Just because it's been a very slow rollout of characters for Nendoroids over a long period of time. It's cool, and for Zuko fans, if you're a massive Zuko fan and maybe you're someone who is very selective with merch, this probably is something you maybe want to buy if you are a big Zuko fan, just because Nendoroids are just such a kind of memorable kind of item. It's a memorable style of figure. You know, there's not going to be too many things along the lines of this. It might be worth getting if you're super, super into Zuko. But yeah, we'll move on. Next, we have two new Korra Displates. Avatar's been getting a lot of updates to Displates. Korra, since they added the initial batch, has not got any until now. Now, there's two new ones here. They're both location-based ones. So you can see they have Republic City here, and we also have the Spirit World over here, done in the location style that a lot of the Avatar ones are done in, where we have like Ba Sing Se, Omashu, and so on. So very cool shot here, Republic City. You see the mountains in the background, the bridge, the Aang statue, a lot of the buildings kind of up front here. They chose the right kind of angle to show a lot of Republic City, and it's pretty nice. And you can also see there's the Korra element symbols down here. The Spirit World is obviously showing the Korra kind of era Spirit World with the new portal. Looks pretty nice overall, but I think with the Korra Displates, they just need to add a ton more. Like, the fact that there's only 16 of these and most of them are kind of super early, boring, we're well past these being particularly interesting, and so many characters are just not covered at all anywhere in the lineup, let alone stuff from early, not even speaking about book 2, 3, 4, where are the villains, where are characters that only appear in later books. So much not covered here, like, at all. So they definitely need to add like a good 20, 30 more at least, and keep going from there. The selection's not good enough, I think, at the moment for Legend of Korra. But cool that we are finally getting updates, so something to keep an eye on and when they add more. Next, the Voyage of the Unity Kickstarter has come to an end. The backing period has ended. they've ended up with 3,219 backers pledging 526,000. So over 500,000. They reached the second last stretch goal, but there's a bit of a weirdness about this because when it initially ended, it was below 525, but it seems to have gone up by about 7-ish thousand or something like that in the last couple of days. So I'm not sure if that's just maybe people who had maybe payment problems, maybe figuring that out, and so the number has kind of gone up since then or something like that. That's probably what's happened. But technically, by the time they officially ended the campaign, we had not got the second last stretch goal, but it now officially is over that. I guess they'll comment on that soonish to explain what the situation is there. But you can see here, we got the upgraded covers and world map, so that's cool. We're going to get a cloth map. We technically have the rare bending scroll one for those of you who are interested, but we did miss out on the second poster map and box foil. But still, it has to be acknowledged that this campaign has done extremely well. 500,000 for what has to be acknowledged as already Avatar Legends, a little bit of a niche product for Avatar. To a certain degree, like RPG specific merchandise for the franchise, it's leaning in that direction. Given that Avatar is popular, the initial Kickstarter did super well. But still, so many Avatar fans not really aware of it. And then within Avatar Legends, what this is a hyper-specific Roku-era thing about the Unity ship from Beetle and Grimm with Magpie rather than Magpie directly on a Kickstarter, leaning more high-end, kind of premium. You're kind of maybe paying for a lot of the extras rather than just the material. So the fact that it made 500,000 is actually really strong for Avatar. The one thing I do question, though, is just September 2026 is the delivery. Not this September, next September. So it's a really long way away. I'm assuming the digital stuff will come out probably a good bit before this. It'd want to. But it's really long time away. It means there's going to be a giant gap between the last Magpie Legends release and whenever this comes out. And it just makes me ask the question, what's going on with Magpie? When are they going to officially communicate about the next book? We expect it to be the Spirit World book, but we don't know what their plan is. This clearly is some sort of a secondary, not directly with them involved type thing. They're there and thereabouts, but it's not their main focus. So what have they been doing in the meantime? That's what I really want to know. Their lack of direct communication has been really noticeable. So I want to see if they maybe have something to say going into maybe San Diego Comic-Con. But that's that. I ended up going with the standard edition tier. I just was not happy with the way they did the deluxe tier at all, as I explained in my videos. And I was not willing to spend the money on the higher end tiers. I really appreciate that in the end. It seems like on the digital stuff, we'll probably have all the art available, which is cool. But some frustrations for me with the way that this went, certainly, as I talked about. But still, a massive success overall. And I am excited to get my hands on this and discuss the content that's here. It is just a very long time away for that, unfortunately. Next, this is more speculative rather than directly covering information. But the schedule for San Diego Comic-Con 2025, which is happening next month, obviously just over a month, it's going to be happening soon-ish, I guess. Notably, the schedule has changed from still having last year's con schedule to now having the kind of placeholder page waiting for the 2025 schedule, meaning that, stuff is beginning to be properly planned, information is beginning to get sent out. And I'm assuming over the next couple of weeks, we are going to find out what the full panel lineup is for all the days of the convention, and we'll figure out what exactly Avatar is and isn't doing. We're expecting some level of Avatar inclusion at the convention. The anniversary press release already said they would have something here to kind of celebrate the 20th anniversary of the franchise, but what panels will they have? I'm expecting a podcast panel and a publishing panel. Now, the podcast panel is one of those ones where if they have something more to say, that panel is something that they can easily evolve into something much more official. or downgrade into something less impactful, depending on if they do have something to say. Because if they have a basic announcement about Avatar Studios, they can give that to Janet and Dante. If they just have a little something to say in an otherwise podcast-focused panel, that way they don't have to have a full Avatar Studios panel. That's the way that the podcast stuff is always going to work. Publishing definitely needs a panel because the main things we're waiting for is, very clearly it feels like at this point, they're waiting until probably the convention to properly give the details on Awakening of Roku. Cover reveal, we still don't have the cover yet. We don't have the description for that book. I'm assuming that will go up in tandem with the convention, like kind of last year that happened. So that will be exciting because we've been waiting for information on that book for such a long time. I'm eager to see what the planned kind of plot is going to actually be. But Dark Horse is what the focus of that panel I think is going to have to be, if they have a publishing panel, because they have nothing. Sure, Beast of the Four Nations is a thing, but they've already done the announcement. The preview is already out there for that. That will just be in a position where, like, letting people know it exists. They need to actually announce Avatar comics, Korra comics, the comic miniseries that, again, is from the anniversary press release. What's happening? What are they doing? And again, it feels like we maybe should have had an announcement already, but they're maybe waiting for San Diego Comic-Con. I hope it's not a situation where they don't do much here at San Diego and they wait for New York Comic-Con, just because it's a notable enough delay where, like, theoretically they could announce a book here and it hits right at the end of the year or very early next year. If they do it only announce it in October, it means at the very earliest we're probably looking at like a March release or something like that, and that could be a little bit frustrating, I think, in terms of what way they kind of plan this all out. But the other side of things is obviously that it's probably still too early for the publishers to talk too much about their plans for the movie. But at the same time, who knows? We have to wait and see what the actual plan is for all this stuff. But stuff's happening with all the publishers. You know, we got the Webtoons information. Korra stuff's coming to Webtoons. Random House, of course, has a lot of books coming out. It'd be cool if they detailed more of what's going on with the Bending Academy series in terms of, like, Light It Up. That feels like the sort of series where, like, they might actually tell us what the planned schedule is for that, maybe a little bit more in advance. But still, either way, there's exciting stuff going on with publishing. And then Avatar Studios itself, I just don't know where to stand on that. Like I said, I can maybe see them giving Janet and Dante, like, something to just show off to fans. Like, maybe a super early preview movie poster that they reveal would be kind of interesting. That way it's like, you don't need to have Mike and Brian there and a whole Avatar Studios panel, because fundamentally it's just revealing, like, one image effectively. That could be something. That way you've met the requirement of giving people an update on the movie that's now officially announced with a kind of locked in release date for October, and you're letting people know that you're still thinking about it. But it might be way too early. I think it's probably too early for something like that. That's just wishful thinking on my part. But certainly I think maybe more for New York Comic-Con. Something like that maybe might need to happen, just because otherwise, in terms of a big convention, we're waiting for San Diego Comic-Con next year, which is getting awfully close to the movie release, like 3 months beforehand. You know, that's very close to be doing maybe early preview information. We'll probably already have a trailer at that point, that sort of situation. So there is all the news that we have. Just to finish off actually with this is the next kind of big thing we're waiting for. Avatar Legends novel, City of Echoes, the Jin novel. I just want the marketing to be a little bit better for this. We still don't have the excerpt or preview for this one yet. I assume it has to be next week if they're going to follow any sort of a pattern. But that completely depends on if any outlet is actually being given the exclusive excerpt for this. If not, we'll be waiting for the random, like, audio preview whenever that one goes live, a little bit closer to release. And, like, say, the big Amazon preview, which always goes live, like, much closer to the actual release of the book, like a week or two beforehand. But we're getting really close. Today marks exactly 1 month to go. And I'm excited for it. I think a lot of people who are aware that this book exists are excited for it. I just question have they actually done a good enough job about letting people know that this book exists, drawing attention to it, excitement towards it? And I think you probably do really need to put out an excerpt and make it really clear, just because it is a different series of novels, and just to highlight it in the right way. The thing that I always don't understand with the books is why, like, the YouTube channels, the official Avatar social medias, only do the absolute bare minimum marketing when they could be doing so much more. The YouTube channel, to me, should be putting up probably like the first couple of chapters as audiobook preview chapters. They really should be I think, highlighting the audiobook to people. I know it's always going to be a challenge to get people to read a multiple 100-page book, regardless of what it's about. But if you really push the audiobook by showing some of it on YouTube, officially on those channels, I think you could really get a completely new audience that is very difficult for anyone to really capture in that way. And I just think it's a big missed opportunity, to the point where I know from the fact that I do a lot of like how to get into novels, publishing type stuff, that people come to those videos all the time and are like, I didn't know this edition of this book existed. I didn't know this book series existed. I didn't know that the books were available on audiobook. Highlighting that, like, it's some of that information is a little bit kind of hidden. I think actually quite a few people are not aware that all the Avatar novels come out as audiobooks as well. So I'm excited for it, because like there's a lot of content I'm going to be planning to do for this. I'm ready to go now, but there's nothing to talk about until we get the excerpt, unfortunately. So that's where I'm going to leave off the video. So let me know what your thoughts are on this. Avatar coming to Sonic Racing Crossworlds. The leak is, I guess, true. We'll see what the full lineup is, but it's cool stuff there. Sticker book cover, Nendoroid Zuko, some new Korra Displates, thoughts on the end of the Voyage of the Unity Kickstarter, and I guess speculation for Comic-Con. What do you think? What panels will we have? Will there be any surprises? Let me know. But otherwise, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.